Moving on now to the Kibaki succession, and speculation is rife that ODM Deputy Party Leader Musalia Mudavadi may bolt out of the party as his allies fear that the nominations for an ODM flag bearer will not be free and fair. On the other hand, party leader Raila Odinga's allies are said to be preparing for their political survival in the event Mudavadi leaves the party. But both sides are playing down the perceived rising tension arising from the campaigns for the nominations. The question is, will the party survive the nomination storm? In our continuing Kibaki succession series, Alex Jamwada looks at the implications of the political war in the Orange Party. Let's take a look.
From Orange House, it is a tale of a vicious battle for ODM's presidential ticket, a tale of party leader Raila Odinga locking horns with his deputy Musalia Mudavadi. The party is in the process of amending its constitution to ensure free and fair elections, and agitation for the repeal of a clause that gives the party leader an automatic presidential ticket is top of Mudavadi's conditions for participating in the exercise.
Just as much as Kenyans were able to amend their own constitution nationally, there is nothing that prevents political parties to also correct what is clearly a law or clauses that are not necessarily in tandem with the Political Parties Act.
Lands Minister James Orengo, who Mudavadi's allies claimed was advocating for the retention of the clause, was quick to deny the allegation.
Both the party leaders appreciated the fact that with such a provision in the Constitution, it was not going to be possible to have a nomination process involving more than one candidate. And therefore, that article needed to be amended. That was the obvious resolution of everybody at the meeting.
But most polarizing is the issue of which method the party should use to pick its candidate. The Prime Minister has not publicly advocated for any method. He says it is up to the delegates to decide. Mudavadi insists nominations must be at the county level in line with the party's spirit of devolution.
When you have a centralized system, which some people look at, we have seen it before. People come here, they're held in hotels, and then people hop around those hotels trying to influence the delegates by the time they get to the centralized venue.
Past party elections and nominations at the national level, and by coincidence, most of those held at the infamous Kasarani Sports Ground in Nairobi have left a negative trail in Kenya's politics. On the flip side, Odinga in 2002 led a revolt in Kanu over presidential nominations as he opposed the Kasarani method.
Sisi wote wanne kwa kauli moja tumesema hatupitishi hatuleti karatasi hapa na Kasarani vile vile hatuendi.
However, in 2007, ODM picked its candidate through a secret ballot at Kasarani amid claims that the delegates' list had been tampered with.
Raila likes the kuras and makelele. You know, the type that you go to Kasarani and they say he's the one. And maybe it's because he has a feet of clay. You never know within ODM. But Musalia is looking and he's saying, if you use the delegates and we do the election from Mashinani, I'll give this guy a run for his money. He might not win necessarily, but he will at least show him that he has a bit of muscle.
But others believe county level is not a guarantee for a free and fair exercise, as delegates can still be manipulated or bribed or influenced by outsiders as long as the process is not professionally managed. The argument is that it is not the venue that matters.
A free and fair exercise can be as free and fair as the instruments conducting it, or used to conduct it, are tight.
Analysts say both Odinga and Mudavadi are walking a tightrope, and it will be a miracle if the party escapes the historical jinx of splits that come with presidential nominations.
Uncharacteristically, Musalia Mudavadi himself is telling people things like there are going to be consequences. There are going to be adverse consequences. Now, those are the alarm bells that indicate that the conclusion would appear to have already been decided, and that the rest that you are looking for are the legitimizing factors. And this has not been helped at all by some of the people who claim to speak for the Prime Minister. Some of the things they have said have been outrageous, like Otieno Kajwang saying ODM is Raila and Raila is ODM.
There is certainly no crisis, and I don't think we're in a situation where we can say or can characterize the situation as bad.
In politics, you have no permanent friends, only permanent interests. And if the interests of Musalia Mudavadi have changed, then he has absolutely no option but to ditch Raila Odinga.
Is there a scheme to lock you out of the ODM race?
Well, I hope not. I hope not, because it would not augur well for the party. If anybody was thinking of that kind of approach, I think he would be doing the ODM party a lot of disservice.
And if there is no fairness, will you decamp? Will you quit the party?
I don't want to be pessimistic. I want to believe, and I've always believed, that ODM is made of reasonable men and women, and they are people who should embrace democracy. The perception of how ODM handles its nomination process, whether for the presidential or even for the parliamentary or for the senatorship, governorship, is very, very important. Because if you falter, then you're sending a signal across the board. And that could cost us very, very good potential candidates who would then look at ODM negatively.
Odinga has been warning ODM members to be wary of enemies out to influence internal matters of the party with the aim of breaking the ODM, wondering why non-ODM members are the loudest on the party's search for a presidential candidate.
Tunajua panzi. Sasa ile panzi zingine wanapigana. Mwingine anapiga mwenzake, wanapigana, mwingine afikiri yeye ndiye bingwa. Lakini kunguru anakaa huko juu ya mti. Anaangalia, anacheka tu. Ati sasa hawa wawili nianze na gani? Sisi sio panzi. Sisi tunajua kunguru yuko wapi. Sisi hatuwezi kukuliwa na kunguru.
If the other communities would really want to gravitate in the direction of Western Kenya and give it to either a Luo or a Luya, Musalia Mudavadi is becoming more attractive, and it's because of the liability of Raila Odinga.
That must sound very good in the ears of anyone who wants to be a presidential candidate. And if I know that I want to destroy A, and to do so I need to remove B, I must give B every reason to believe that they should move away from A. And I also know that once they get this side, they have no further value to me.
I think Kenyans would make a decision, whether within a political party or whether at a national level. They would be making a decision on the basis of the information they have in terms of what one stands for.
Na mimi nimesema ikiwa kama ni Musalia, nitamuunga mkono. Na yeye vile vile amesema ikiwa kama ni Raila, ataunga mkono.
Analysts say the future of that relationship highly depends on the credibility of the process the party will put in place to nominate its presidential candidate. Alex Chamwada for the